Run here. Okay, welcome to DJF episode 17 from the Hamptons. Minor user error there. Got a new setup here, hence the restart. So thank you for tuning in at a later spot. Today I want to go through Companion and how you can use that to control OBS, because today I'm not actually using the A10 Mini. I'm using Companion and H2R. So I'm going to show you how to use Companion with H2R and OBS to run the show. That's what I'm doing here. Explain the setup that I've got. I was away for the weekend and I wanted to be able to fit everything into a backpack. So I didn't want to bring the whole ATEM, didn't want to bring the Stream Deck, but I'm still running Companion via the computer and also via OBS. So this is what we've got going on. I'm going to show you around and show you the setup that we've got. I'll start with my desktop here so you can get a bit of a sense of what's going on here. So I'm actually switching within this emulator of BitFocus Companion. So I've got my usual kind of programs, keys of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I've got my preview row, so I can actually cut and change my preview input as I go through here. There's nothing in VLC at the moment. So I'll run you through the sources that I have, as you can see in this little I'm running, where are we? OBS in the background here, and then it's got this multi-view output. So I'm getting a very similar sort of setup to what I would get back in the studio, and that also allows me to control OBS and H2R graphics via Companion. So I've got this FaceTime camera, I guess, which is just the one from the laptop. So that is, it's actually doing pretty well in terms of the exposure. I think, it's a new MacBook Pro, and so it's calculating the sky and then me being in the shade. I was testing this out earlier today, and the computer was massively overheating because I was in the sun. So I put up this umbrella to keep the computer shaded, because we're running off battery and Wi-Fi today. So that's the scenario there. And then we've got the FaceTime camera. I've got an R5C, which is my main angle here, which I'll show you in a bit when we come to doing that. And then the iPhone is running through the Elgato software, so that you can, it's on Wi-Fi, and I can do a little walkthrough with that. And then I've got my Mac desktop, which is going through here. But I'll take a little, why don't we take a little look around and see what's going on. I guess before we do that, if you have any comments, drop them into the chat, and let me know if any technical errors too, because I've had a couple today. So just want to make sure I'm streaming and that the audio is good and you can hear me. I was going to use my Sennheiser wireless G4 lavalier, but was missing a particular cable, and so I'm using these earbuds. Hence, sound is a little more compressed today. But we'll do a little walk around, and I'll show you what we've got going on over here. So actually, I might cut back to. So actually what you were seeing before here is just the iPhone over Wi-Fi, and if I pick this up, I was running this on battery just to kind of keep it charged and fresh and that kind of stuff. But I can actually unplug that because it's not plugged in via, the video portion of it is not over any sort of connection. And we can take you through the setup that I've got here. So this is just my MacBook running off battery. I do have this V-mount if I needed a little more juice as I'm going through, and then sort of using OBS and Companion to do that. And then this connection here is, I always got to focus on this one, is actually, it's a USB 2 cable going up to the 5D, so not the 5D, I'm so used to 5Ds, the R5C. And that is in webcam mode, which is outputting it. The main trouble I was having this was battery, because like these things don't last very long, although this one's actually, if you put it into HD mode, this is saying this is a fairly fresh battery. It says I should get 48 minutes down here. We'll see if that is the case. It is a brand new Canon battery, so it should be doing fairly well. And I've just set up a picture profile that's more for live streaming rather than raw. And I'm just keeping that closed to save battery power. But yeah, as I said before, I was going to put a Sennheiser wireless microphone into the camera and then do an Elgato cam link out of HDMI, but I didn't actually bring the this micro cable with me on this trip, so I had to go via webcam, which doesn't have any. The Canon doesn't have any audio out on that. It's just video out on the webcam. I've got a new R5, sorry, not RF lens here, and then I've got a freewell circular polarizer on there, just to a dark polarizer to control the light and get a bit of a nicer picture. Hopefully you're seeing that all right. I think I was holding my phone a little bit too tightly, and what happens generally here, you can see out here, is that if I get anything that's blocking the Wi-Fi, then it doesn't do so well. So we shall see. But this is the router is actually, it's back up here in the house, so it's punching through a wall, and I'm trying not to block my phone with putting my hand in front of it. But this is probably about as far as I can go because of Wi-Fi. It might be breaking up a bit. We'll see how we go. This is down on the Hamptons on the beach here. Also, I feel like once you get to about here, there's a whole bunch of ticks, so I'm not a huge fan of that. We'll bring it back to here. So I was set up under this umbrella here where we're going to do today's live stream, and I can take you through all of that. And we get back to our main camera here and get sort of set up again. So tell me how that was in terms of the Wi-Fi, because a lot of that, what I just showed you there, was going from the phone's Wi-Fi to the router and then back into the computer and then being streamed. So there could have been some dropouts or latency or delay and that kind of stuff. So I'd be curious to know if that was a smooth experience for you or if it had some problems. I'm just going to flip this camera around so I have an angle here. Hopefully that'll stay up. All right. Let's just check in with some comments. What do we got here? Let me have a look. Okay. Rodrigo says that the sound is good, but he can't hear the sea or the birds. Yeah, so I think because I have a wireless Sennheiser G4 wireless live, which should be really good for voice, but they would have had to go direct into the camera, and then the camera would have had to use HDMI out into a cam link to bring it into the computer. But I didn't have that HDMI cable. So I had to use the USB-C out, and I couldn't use the G4. So I'm using my AirPods, which is not ideal because it is more compressed. Interestingly, and I didn't want to go this route, but I'm using the earpods straight into the computer because I feel like that's a bit more reliable. The other way that I could have routed it is connected to the iPhone and use the iPhone through the Elgato app, the Ecamm, what is it, Epoch Cam or something, it's a different audio treatment on it, and I think it sounded a bit better. It wasn't as compressed, but I didn't want to go that route because, if the phone goes down, as you saw in that sort of walkout there, then my audio is going to go down too. So this way it's a little more reliable, hopefully, in this setup, because I was just trying to keep gear to a minimum. When you've got a weekend away, you don't want to lug stuff around. So this other thing I wanted to test out this weekend was just this R5C that I've got. So I think it's a fairly nice picture. When I was setting it up before, I did notice it was having, I don't say like focus problems, but this sort of frame, it was having difficulty finding my face. Sometimes it would sort of go to the back horizon and then it would find my face again. So I feel like the video mode for the R5C is still, could do with a firmware update to get better face tracking, because I think the R5 probably had really solid face tracking. Also, the circular polarizer on it might have something to do with making that a little more unreliable. But yes, that is what's going on there. What else we got here? Aaron says that the FaceTime camera is surprisingly good. It is. That's what it's sharp though. You'll notice when I cut to, where am I? On this one. This one. There we go. So it's definitely like a sharp video camera, and it feels very different to something that is just feels a bit nicer and more produced. But I definitely wanted to have this as a backup angle because I feel like at some point this R5C is going to go down, which is the other challenge, which is even though I've got this battery, so I could plug this battery into the USB-C, but then of course you can't have the USB camera out of it. And then I do have another cable which could go from like the D-tap out in this as a dummy battery into the R5C, but then it was just like it was a whole rigging thing, and I just didn't want. I wanted this weekend to be not a big, carrying all the gear and all that kind of stuff, and it's just a bit of a pain. So that's where I have opted for trying to get like a nice camera look where I can set it up and get something a bit further back from the computer without having to bring an ATEM, and I didn't even bring the Stream Deck, and clearly I'm missing a couple of cables. Otherwise, I would have used a different microphone. Yeah. Cool. What else we got here? Wood. Where are we? Wood Turning Tool Store says, I have your companion pack and modified it for my needs. It took me a week to pull it apart to understand it. I have a much better understanding of the power of companion. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff you can there's so much stuff. I can't get to the bottom of companion because there's, as an open source project, like everyone is adding in modules, and there's 200 plus or something modules in companion. So within that, there's like just thousands of different combinations of things that you could build. So it is a tool that you need to sort of go through and maximize and spend the time that you want on it to get what you need to run your show. Also with the profile that I made, that was very much built around the ATEM, and I made a very sort of extensive list of buttons. But when it comes to running a show, that's where I would actually pick and choose what you need from those buttons and put them into a page where you can just access them all at once, which is what I'm doing down here. If you look at my desktop view here, just going to pull that one out. I'm actually running, this is my usual profile, and look at that, companion rebooting. Okay, so you can see the ATEM is not plugged in, so this is all sort of empty. And then I have my normal sort of custom page, which is what I run from within the studio. And then I have my show page, which today this is what I've got, and we can go through that and look at the way that I've set up the show for today. So I'll just finish off with these questions here, and Wood Turning Tool Store also says a few dropouts on the walkway back over here, but not too bad. Yeah, I think it was also the way I was holding it. I noticed that when I was holding my phone like that, and then the Wi-Fi router is like behind a wall, it was dropping out. Whereas if I held it like that, so I was being very conscious of that. The other thing you can do with the iPhone and the Ecamm, is it Ecamm? No, it's not Ecamm, it's Epoch or something. Epoch Cam, which is the Elgato one that I'm running, is you can plug it in via USB. So that would make it a more reliable connection. I just didn't want to do that because I got to run around, and I wanted a camera that I could like point to things and take in the scenery. So I'm going to put this one back down. Where can we put this? There's also a ton of pollen around here. There's, I don't know what it is. I guess it's like late spring, early spring. So that's all getting messy. If you got any other comments as we go through this, let me know, and put that into the chat, and we can see how we get through that. All right, so I'm going to come back to my desktop view here, which is a bit of a mess because I'm fitting everything onto one screen today. But if I open up my apps, essentially what I've got is Chrome, which is running Companion in both the sort of behind the scenes and this emulator down here, which is my virtual interface. I'm running John's H2R graphics for all of these chats and that kind of thing. OBS VLC is playing the music at the start. Safari is probably not meant to be open, but that's what we got. And system preferences is not meant to be open either. So we will quit that one and I'll leave Safari. All right. So I'm going to start with I'm going to start just by going through and showing you the inputs that I've got, and then we can look at how I'm controlling those inputs. So briefly, looking at this companion page that I've made here, I've got the program across here, and then the preview. I've got the cut buttons, which are now controlling OBS rather than the ATEM. We've got some VLC here, H2R's social comments to bring like the chat on and off, that kind of thing. We've got a countdown timer, which is what was playing at the head of the show. I've got an audio monitor, microphone on and off, record and live streaming. I'm not recording today because I just don't want to max out the computer. I was doing, well, when I was doing the morning show, it was, I didn't have the umbrella up and this got so hot and the computer just kind of dropped out. It was dropping frames and not sending, I guess OBS wasn't sending stuff through to YouTube. You know, that wasn't my main problem though. My main problem was just forgetting to hit go live, which is like, I've done that twice now and it's just like, so basic. Okay. All right. So let's go back to, and then I've got down here, I've got my pre-show, run, wrap, and cut and out. So I'll start with the preview and program ones because this is within OBS. The main thing I've noticed within OBS is that when you type a number here, so you create a scene, I'm just using 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I actually haven't named them because if I wanted to change the name on them, then when they come into Companion, you have to relink it. So which is kind of annoying. And there it is, restarting there. So I'm clicking on the change scene 1 here essentially, and under OBS change scene 1, that is selecting scene 1. And it's just a number because that's all I had in the actual this OBS page. So haven't quite found out a way to make that universal because it would be really nice if we could sort of export that and then people could adapt this to their own and or even for myself to like rename inputs. But in the renaming inputs, you kind of lose all of the things that you've built. So what I've done is basically got, and you can kind of see it in the multi-view here as well, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. VLC is input 5, which doesn't have anything in it at the moment. So I've added in, this is my internal camera, the FaceTime camera, and then I've got an H2R overlay here, which is actually this screen. And so I'm pulling in this window, and you'll notice this little striped gray area here. It means that it's actually, I had to make it a little bit bigger to get rid of the window bars around that. But when I bring on, let's bring on something like a lower third, that is, if I go filters, and I've got to get rid of this, there. This thing is in the way. So I've added in a chroma key and a little bit of a crop pad in there, but I've essentially set the color of the green screen here to be green because it's pulling green from this window and then it's cutting it out in this. So this is sort of like the equivalent of my keying that would have it in the ATEM, where you pull out the chroma key and put that as a upstream key, is what's happening here. Okay, so I'm going to close this one down. And then I've gone for that, and I've just, the way that I've chosen to set this up is I've gone copy, and then for each of these ones, I've actually just pasted it in. And so you'll see H2R is sitting across all of these sources, except for VLC, because I wasn't really using that. And so it's always got something on it. So again, back to, and my apologies for this window, is just like got a ton of stuff on it. So if I go, where are we? Let's bring on this lower third again. So that's bringing it on here, and you'll notice on all of the inputs 1, 2, 3, 4, it's just like H2R is across everything, and I'm controlling H2R on its own accord, not within the scenes of OBS, is the way that I've set that up. All right, I'm just going to move this one back over here so it stays out of the way, and we can keep looking at the multi-view here. All right, so what have I got? Internal camera. The R5C, which I actually don't think it's outputting 1920 1080 video. I think it's more like 960 or something. So I'm not sure if the quality of this R5C camera is actually great. It's probably not. I need to look into that more in terms of the specs and what's coming out of this camera, because it's I was going to say it's a disappointment as a live streaming camera, but it's really not a live streaming camera, even in terms of controlling it and that kind of stuff, and particularly the battery and the powering. It's very, very sort of different intent with that camera, but it also feels like like with that USB-C port, I was really hoping to find a way to like put power in and pull video out and audio, and then it would have been a really nice camera just to have. Like imagine if I could actually power that off this cable. That'd be cool. Then I have like a nice lens and filters that I could take for remote live streaming like this. All right, input 3 is, so this is 2, and then 3 is the EpoCam. So that you actually need to download a driver into the Mac, which will read it, and then this thing here has it's basically an app on the iPhone which is sending it over Wi-Fi, and as I said before, you can do USB as well, and that's just sort of another camera that I can use to move around and get some shots and sort of show you what's going on. And also I wanted something that was could set up the opening shot here. Okay. This input number 4 is a internal screen capture. So it's just pulling that from the built-in Retina display. And again, I've got the H2R over it. So all of that combines to make my mainly like 4 inputs. I've also got a VLC one, but I didn't have that fully set up because with the VLC, I was just really using the music today. I don't have any, just got audio playback. I don't have videos to play back today, but otherwise I would have used that on input number 5, so to speak, which is black. So that's what's happening down here when I click across. All right. Yeah. All right. So let's move on to this, and we'll go through how this has been set up in here. If you're not aware of Companion and OBS, you actually, like, there's a OBS module within Companion so that you can control it, and that's what I'll show you here. So under Companion connections, it's down the bottom here. If you were to go like add a connection, type in OBS, you would add in that, and that is this one. And I'm just giving it the label OBS and giving it the local address of 127.0.0.1. 444 is the target port, and then my password is just OBS password. Save that. And then that is bringing in control of OBS in, if I come in here, in this sort of studio layout that I've got going in here, and can control Companion. All right, so jump back over to the buttons. You can always, with Companion, you can OBS Studio, under presets, OBS Studio, scene to program, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the buttons that are brought here because in my layout here, this is what I've called my scenes. And so it's grabbing that and it's pulling it in. So I can just by default drag this on, and then anytime you can see down here, I've now got this like input 1. So if I click that, then it's going to cut across to scene 1. So that's how that's working with that. So if you want to use OBS to get yourself set up and running with Companion, all of this is all free. Apart from H2R, there's a pro license for that, which I highly recommend getting. But the OBS itself and Companion are free, so you can run that yourself. All right. Then I've got this up here. I've got monitor and I've got microphone. So the way I've set up the audio is I have this monitor thing so that if I click this button, I can hear myself back. So what I'm hearing now in my ear is the monitoring through the earbuds, but there's like a bit of a delay. So it's very, I can't, can you do that when you got the delay and you're hearing yourself back and you're trying to listen to yourself, but you're trying to talk? Yeah, it's something that I don't want to do all the time. So that's where I would have this button down here. So I can turn that off. Oh, whew. There we go. That's better. So I just have that so that if I want to check what I've got going on in terms of the audio output to make sure that the mic is coming through, like for example, if my Bluetooth headphones disconnect, then we are going down. So that's not ideal setup. Much more preferred wired setups, but this is what we have today. But that just gives me an idea of like, okay, this is actually going through. But for the most part, I actually turn that off because I don't want to hear it back. And then I got this mic button. So the feedback on that is like the visual button feedback is showing me that my mic is on. So if I need to cough, I can, and then I can turn it back on, and I don't have to worry about everyone listening to me clear my throat. And ideally, what you would do is cut away to if this was like a different angle and you cough and you clear your throat, and then no one actually knows that you've had to clear your throat. All right, this is the microphone that is on. As I said, I'm not recording, but I am live streaming. This is just a OBS toggle streaming button here, so it's going to do it each time you press it. It's going to turn it on or off depending on what you've got. And I've just put on a 500 millisecond delay because I don't want to actually accidentally press it. So the way this works is it's just the toggle streaming with a bit of delay, and then under release actions, it's what you type in abort actions on a button. And I've got a duplicate now. I'm just going to get rid of that. And this is saying this page and this button. So it means that when I am releasing, so I push down the button and I release it under 500 milliseconds, it's not going to do anything. If I'm holding it down, then after 500 milliseconds, it's going to toggle. And then when I release it and it aborts, that action has already passed. So therefore, the live streaming has been able to toggle. And yeah, I do that with record and for live streaming just to make sure that I know that I'm not like accidentally stopping the stream. All right, let me have a look and let's see what we've got in the way of questions. Just before we go much further. Okay, question here, which is, are you streaming straight from the Mac via YouTube Live, and is it over your Wi-Fi? Yeah, I am streaming from, let me have a look, see if I can pull this up. So within OBS, under the, don't want to press that. under stream. I'm pushing it out to my YouTube account here, which is connected. So that's where that is then coming into here. This is the back end of that, and everything looks good. We have 11 people on the call, which is great, on the live stream. And so that's where, yeah, it's kind of the same deal as what you would have with an ATEM, where I guess the encoder, which is the Mac application, is sending that one out, and instead of the actual hardware. So I was having a little bit of trouble earlier today, because I didn't have this umbrella up, and the computer was getting, like, it was getting so hot. This screen was just getting so hot in the direct sunlight. Also, I changed my, I think that's why my system preferences were open, which was under, where did this go? Just click this over here. So under the battery, which you can't see because of this comment, so under this battery, this is where I've put the energy mode onto high power. I don't know if this exactly makes a difference, but I just wanted to make sure I was getting because I'm actually running off battery and Wi-Fi, which is very bad combination. And just want to make sure it's getting all the power that it needs, without having to worry about it going down. Cool. All right, next question. Thanks for all the questions. Let me see. Back for YouTube. Okay, he says, when you added the new one button, triggered it, why didn't the other one button turn green? Let's take a look. So I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to come back over to, I do like having a Stream Deck, because clicking back across windows is not as good as having a physical Stream Deck. Okay, so this was the button that he was talking about, and I might just delete that one. Okay, so we've got this blank space here. What we're talking about is this button 1 we're trying to replicate. When I click to that one, so I hold down Shift, and then if I click on that, it'll cut across, so I can sort of simulate what is going on in the Stream Deck. And if I click back to input number 4, then I'm back here. And the default buttons, so under presets, OBS, scene to program, there's also scene to preview, which is that second row that I've got. I'm going to drag this default button on. All the people are getting their angle grinding out here, and there's a lot of work in the Hamptons getting ready people for Memorial Day weekend, which I will not be here for. Okay, so what we have under, and I realize this comment is in the way, so let's get rid of this comment so we can see. So this button down here, button 1, I don't think this is quite set up. Actually, let me move this up a bit. There we go. Hopefully you can see that better. All right, so button 1 and button 1, why didn't that light up? The reason is, I didn't want to, I've just changed the colors, really, this is a short answer of it. So if you compare this button 1 with the one that I created, you'll see there that down here, the background color for when it's on program, I've made it bright red, and when it's on preview, I've made it dark red. And the reason is because with OBS, you can't actually, the way that this particular feedback is built in OBS is you can't separate it out. You can't choose a preview state or a program. They're kind of locked together. But I found it confusing when they both change colors. So I would have a preview row and a program row. And if I clicked on these ones here, you would have this button also going green, and I would click on R5C and this button would also go green. And it's just kind of confusing because I wanted to keep only red on the program row and I wanted to keep only green on that row. So it's just sort of going through and sort of designing how you want that feedback to come through. Because by default here, it was the background color is green and red, which makes sense, but I wanted to be able to separate it out. But good question. Can delete that button, and we'll see what else we got. No other questions. Okay. If you have more questions, bring them in. I'm going to show you a couple more things in terms of run of show, and then we can wrap up in about 10 minutes, I would say. I'm glad that we're actually doing the show, because I had the other thing I was doing today was recreating my studio run of show for OBS, and I haven't dealt with OBS in depth, but now I have this run of show which I think I can take on the road with me, and hopefully it'll be reliable. Like I've never particularly loved running live streaming off computer software, because I feel like it can be very dependent on the environment. Not to say that an ATEM can't have its problems and completely overheat and die, but this computer out here was overheating, really. This the Mac M1 Max Pro, no, M1 16-inch MacBook, M1 Max, that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's what we got. All right, let's go back to here, and I'll look at the run of show. So these 4 buttons across here, pre-show, run, wrap, and cut out, are my 4 cues to be able to move through different stages of the show. At the moment, I've hit run, and in 10 minutes time, I'm going to be hitting wrap, and then I'm going to cut out when I want to be all clear of microphone and all that kind of stuff. So let's start with pre-show. You might have seen if you've been watching previous episodes, I did a couple of these where I was using Companion to build a pre-show. Sorry, I was using, it's going to come over here. I was using Companion to build a run of show for controlling the ATEM and also my PTZ cameras. So on this sort of shot, I could like zoom in. Obviously today I'm locked off, so I can't do that. But I wanted to recreate that using OBS because I didn't want to carry the hardware. So that is, this is normally what I have, which is this sort of pre-show run and a bunch of other things going on here. And these red and orange dots are showing that the ATEM's not connected, that module's not connected. But on my 3rd page here, this is my show page, the pre-show is going to set up the, before I get to the top of the hour or top of the half hour, that kind of stuff with the show. It's going to start the music, it's going to mute my microphone, it's going to get some graphics going, and then it's going to be ready so that with that one press, I can then start the show when I hit the run button. So before I do that, I'm just going to update something in H2R because that changed. So this is all my different things within H2R that we can add in. And the ones that I'm mainly using is this countdown to time of day, which was 14:30. And if I click that, you'll see in this green box, nothing's happening. And the reason is we've passed that time. So I need to edit this, and I can come into, let's say I need to be out of here at, man, time flies, doesn't it? 3:15. We need to wrap up the show and get on with our lives. All right, so, and actually I probably also want to change the text. So let's change, maybe not live in, what would you call this? Like, I don't know, let's just call it remaining. Or like ends in, okay, let's call it that. All right, so I've done that, and when I click this, it's gonna bring this in, ends in 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Wow, that feels very short. Do we want more time? No, I think we're going to be very disciplined, and we're going to be out of here at 1:15. All right, so we have 5 minutes to wrap up this show. And we're going to turn this one off, and we're going to come back over here. So under pre-show, this is actually going to cut my mic. So I'm going to have to sort of do a bit of a turning on and off to demonstrate how this is going on. But what I've got in here to set this up is I've got an OBS command which says change the scene to 3. So it's essentially saying put OBS scene number 3 to program. I've built in a 100 millisecond delay to say scene number 2, put that into preview, so that that's going to be the next camera. The one that you're seeing here at the moment that's going to put into preview. And then I want to, in case I had any other graphics, I'm going to hide all graphics. And then H2R show graphic, which is this one that we just changed, 15:15, which is the time, and it pulls it out. So what's really neat about H2R version 2 is that all of that info that is in here in this run of like all these different assets that I could do to bring in, like, like a lower third, or I could put like my website up, or I could put the logo up, or I could put up like a ticker, which I haven't really built anything for into that, or I could do comments like that, which brings up the last comment that we had, or even like a score, which I don't really have any use for in my case, or balloons, which are fun. Balloons are fun, aren't they? But the one I'm using here is this countdown to time of day, and I'm going to turn this one off, and you'll see here under presets, I've got a bunch of them in here. So we're going to go here to record, show hide, and all of these buttons by default are sort of pre-built. So the one that I've got here is 15:15. We can drag that into our little spot here that we have for triggering things in the spare space that we have. And so I'm going to move this down so hopefully you can see under here. So if I don't have enough screen real estate, I need multiple monitors. I should have brought multiple monitors. Okay, so when I click this button, it's going to bring that on. So back in H2R, this little red icon here is showing that this is now on. I could click to remove that, or I could click to bring back on. And in my button down here, I can click again and it will remove it. So that's what's happening in this pre-show item, is it's saying initially remove all the graphics, because we just want to make sure that we have nothing in there that's might have been, before I was like setting up the show. And then we want to bring on this specific graphic, and I can choose what that is depending on, what I want it to be. So I've got a bunch in there. I'm also playing VLC. It's got a bunch of audio tracks in here, as you've seen before. And by default, this is pulling this VoIP track is going to be number 1. I'm going to say play track number 1. OBS is going to say set the source volume of the desktop audio input, which if I go back to OBS, and if I go command comma to bring up the output, so the settings, and I go to audio, my global audio devices, I'm using this black hole 2-channel plugin, and I'm using my microphone for the desktop audio, and then my microphone is going to be using the DJ pods, which is my earpods, which is in what I've got in here, my AirPods. This black hole 2-channel thing, if I go back to audio, you'll see it shows up here as well, a 2 and a 16 channel. That's just an audio plugin that you can download from the internet for free, and that will route the audio. So what I've got is under VLC, I've got the under audio device, I've selected black hole 2-channel audio output, I guess. So it's going from VLC into this virtual channel, and then OBS is picking that up and bringing that in as desktop audio. So that's how that music is coming in. And then the DJ pods is the AirPods just connected to the system. All right, so I'm going to cancel that. So when I go back to pre-show, what is happening here is OBS set volume source. So what you would do is you go down here and you say set volume, where are we? Not that. Set source volume. set source volume. Okay, and I can choose my source, and I'm going to scroll down to mic auxiliary, and I can also set the decibel. So I'm going to set minus, what did I do before? I didn't set it for that one, -3 probably, mic aux. So that the one I was using there before was the desktop audio. So that's the VLC audio is coming into desktop audio, and then I'm setting the volume of that to -3, to 6, sorry, which is what I've got up here in this one. And then I'm also saying set audio monitor to of the microphone on, because I want to be able to hear the microphone, just to make sure that there's no stray audio coming on while I've got it in the pre-show. Then I'm just going to delete this one because I don't want to change what I've got before. And then I've also set OBS set source to mute true here, which is the mic auxiliary. So for my pre-show, when I am set up on this kind of shot, so remember we had this shot here, just looking out with a wide shot, just so you could see what we've got. And that's just behind me here. So I'll bring this one back over here. So that's my sort of intro show. And while it's on that shot, I don't want to have my microphone on because I want to be able to just like get ready and have the music playing in the background. So that's where I've turned true mute for that. So I've muted the microphone. All right. So I'm just going to give that a run. A little helicopter coming over here. Really feels like billions out here. Probably can't see that. So there we go. Is that coming through? I don't know if that was too small, but hopefully the audio is not too bad with the helicopter. All right, so going back to here, and I'm going to pre-show. I'm going to run this, and I'm going to lose my mic, but I'm going to bring my microphone back in and out a bit. Just going to move this up a bit because I need more real estate. Okay. All right, so let's go run pre-show now. And then when I hit run, that was the shot that you've got there. We've gone on to the second one, and you can hear the audio is cut, right? So I had about 8 seconds of the audio when I hit run the show. The audio dropped down to -21, so I went from -6 down to -21, and then the audio is continuing on, so you get a bit of a shoulder running into the show, but then eventually I want to cut it because I don't want audio just going on forever. Yeah, let's take a look at the run button. So if I come back to this view. So under the run, what I'm saying is, like I said, setting the desktop audio, which is the VLC, set that down to -21. Again, hiding all the graphics so that time to the end of the show, which we've already passed, haven't we? Wow, that goes really fast. I was like, I'm going to be out by 1:15, but we'll try and move to this and wrap up quickly. So if you have any questions, shoot them in there because we'll be wrapping up pretty soon. Okay, so H2R, hiding all the graphics. And then we've got, so I can put my face up here for you so you can see me a bit more. Okay, so then we're setting a transition type to fade. So OBS set transition type, set it to fade. Because if you do a dissolve previously, then OBS is set to do dissolves. And so when I switch scene modes, all of these cut buttons down here actually wouldn't cut, they would do transitions. So that's why I've used this command, OBS set transition type to, I set it here to fade. And then at the end, I've done another one saying set it to cut, but I've added a 1.25 second delay to that. So it does the transition and it's a 1 second transition, and then it puts the mode back to the cut mode. All right, so it's dropping the audio down, and then it is bringing this transition on. So it's transitioning across, because remember we had this R5C sitting in preview, and we had that wide shot, this one, in the program. And then I'm bringing on this graphic, which again is bringing on like a lower third so that you know where we are going. And then we're going to set the audio monitor to off so that we are not getting confused by that audio. And then and we've got Liz and Phil who are going on the beach. All right, enjoy. I'll see you on the way back. They're where are we? They're going to the beach. It's a beautiful day. I should be down the beach. I should not be here on a live stream. I should be like sitting on the sand. Let's go back to this one. Okay, here we go. So audio monitor, I've turned off the microphone's audio monitor, and then I've set the source mute to false. So it's turning on the microphone, and I'm setting that volume of the microphone to -3, or the line, I guess, to -3. And I've reset this transition type, and then there's this 8-second delay for the VLC to pause the music. So that is what is happening there. And then when I have the wrap show, which we shall do soon, that is where we're pushing scene 1 to program, which will be this one, because I want to be able to say, hey, we're wrapping up and that kind of stuff. And I'm putting scene 3, which will be this one, into scene 1 into program, even though I'm showing in preview here, and then this wide shot, which I'll set up back onto that, will be in preview. We're going to go hide all graphics just to make sure we get rid of the graphics. And then I'm going to bring on this graphic, which is going to be my website, because I want you to go to my website and check it out. And then we're going to play a different audio track and VLC. I'm going to make sure that audio, just in case I've changed something throughout the show, I'm going to make sure, I'm going to put in this command of set source volume of desktop audio to -21, just so that it's low. And then we're going to put the set audio monitor to none for the microphone channel. And then the next one that we'll do is cut out, and that's simply putting this wide shot back. And maybe I should set this one up so that it's like ready to go. Oh, there's a very cool breeze coming through. Very sudden shift. I'm just going to set this one up over here so we can have our, oh, it's upside down. I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. And there we go. All right, so I'm going to set up the shot for when we finish up. Hopefully that'll be focused. Hopefully that won't fall off the edge of the building. That's our wide shot. That's our wide shot that we've got over here, which is just an iPhone propped up with a battery. Not very stable, but that's what we're running with today. Is everything's held together with sticky tape, and then we come back to the desktop here. All right, so we are going to cut to that angle that we saw in number 3 is going to be this one. We're going to drop the desktop audio, which is the VLC. Sorry, we're going to bring that back up to -6. It was at -21 before. We're going to bring that right back up. And then we're going to cut my microphone here. So this mic auxiliary, the set audio monitor, we're going to get that one to listen to it so I can hear it again, which it should be cut, so I shouldn't be able to hear it. That's just to double check it. And then this set source to mute is true. So that's my microphone, which I'm cutting there. So let's just give this a quick run, and then I'll wrap up with some comments, and then we'll do it for sure, and we'll get out of here and get along with our day. So just to give you an idea here, we are going to go, so I'm going to click my, where are we down here? I'm going to click my wrap button, so that is cutting to here, and I can say, hey, go check out my website because there's a free companion profile for the ATEM, and maybe one day I'll update it to include OBS now that I've got like a whole thing here. And hear that music in the background? So it has, if I just bring back, not OBS, VLC, it's starting to play, and it's just bringing it down low. Come back here, I'm going to come back to this shot. So this was the shot that I've got. And then on the Stream Deck, or the companion emulator, I guess, the next one is cut out. And so that is going to take this shot and sort of end the show. So I'd say, thanks for joining this week. Join me again next week, and I'll see you. Sorry, I got to turn my microphone back on. There we go. This is the problem with playing with different things. Does that run? There we go. Okay. Yeah. That was an example of where I think I was muted, and I noticed that out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, wait, the microphone button's not on. Also, interestingly, there's Canon 5D Mark, no, I say Mark 4 or whatever. The Canon R5C is flashing at me, which means there's probably less than 5 minutes on the battery. So, and that was, I changed that fresh just before I started. So maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes before the show. So, that's actually not bad. I mean, it's terrible, but it's not bad. Like, that is probably almost an hour of battery time on the R5C. And I would say the main reason that is because I've set all the setting modes down to HD. So it's not actually processing 4K or 8K and that kind of thing. So it's getting a bit more battery life, because as I've been using it in 8K RAW, it's been getting 15 minutes. Like, I've been on shoots where I'm just like, new battery, and it's been not great. But yeah, that is, yes, we're getting the, thank you for letting me know no audio. Hopefully we got audio now, which should be coming through. That was as I was playing with my settings before. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm going to, let's go to our wrap button. I see I restarted the music there, so hopefully that will still work. But yeah, thank you for joining, and have a good week. Next week is Memorial Day weekend. I think I'll still be doing something. I'm not sure where I'll be exactly. And then we have Stream Day coming up with all of the other guys on Wednesday of the following week. So make sure you tune in for that, because that should be really good to hear a whole lot of guys talk about live streaming and all of their expertise. So thanks for joining, guys, and I shall see you next week. All right, bye.